putting an end to identity politics. This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
You all saw today that President Donald Trump was correct. There is no evidence that Mr. Manafort or the Trump campaign colluded with the Russian government. Mr. Manafort represented pro-European Union campaigns for the Ukrainian. And in that, he was seeking to further democracy and to help the Ukraine come closer to the United States and the EU. Those activities ended in 2014, over 2 years before Mr. Manafort served in the Trump campaign. Today, you see an indictment brought by an Office of Special Counsel that is using a very novel theory to prosecute Mr. Manafort regarding a FARA filing. The United States government has only used that offense 6 times since 1966 and only resulted in 1 conviction. The second thing about this indictment that I myself find most ridiculous is a claim that maintaining offshore accounts to bring all your funds into the United States as a scheme to conceal from the United States government is ridiculous. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. Kevin Jackson here. Manafort's attorney striking back, swinging back, hitting hard. Glad you're with me today. Look, I got to tell you, I watched this guy do this press conference. I don't think Manafort's going to get convicted of anything. I really don't. I think Mueller needed some time to try to figure out a way out of this, try to make some other connections. I know everybody's talking about this guy, Papadopoulos, and I chuckle at it because nobody knew this guy's name a month ago. I said this earlier in the broadcast. I didn't know who Papadopoulos was. You want to know why? Because he's low level. If you're going to connect Donald Trump to some, nefarious scheme to get himself elected, number one, why would he choose the Russians? And 2, why is he worried about that? He's running against Hillary. But, this concept that he's in collusion, they tried to get Donald Trump Jr. He said, yeah, I took a meeting. And then he released all of his emails and said, here they are. Go through them. You can see exactly what I did. What happened? Is he being indicted? No. All his information is up front. What did Hillary Clinton do? Bleach bit, hammering disc, and everything else. It's so ridiculous to watch this. I think Manafort's going to get out of it. I think what they needed is they needed a name right away. Manafort was already ready. He's there for the asking. Did he do stuff to violate the, because he's supposed to register as a foreign agent. It's like Foreign Agent Registration Act is what they were referring to, the FARA. So did he not do that? Did money offshore? That's not illegal. It's like Mueller's grasping for straws. And this low-level guy, what's funny, I don't know what he admitted to. I've seen lots of reports, and I'm going, what's he admitted to? That he had meetings with the Russians? What? Okay, fine. What's funny about the indictment, none of it involves Trump. I had meetings with the Russians. About what? I don't know. I was trying to bring in Stoli vodka cheaper or something. This is going to backfire so bad on them, so badly. I want to go back to Podesta. We talked a little bit about him because Tony, John's brother, and it was funny. There's a picture of Podesta with his artwork, Tony Podesta, and the tweet was, somebody ought to have a special counsel on Podesta's artwork. It's bizarre. It's bizarre art. It's like it's nudes with people with their arms tied up. It's really bizarre. It points back to John Podesta being part of this, I don't know what they call it, the soup thing, where these guys would get with young kids and try to have sex and all. It's so morbid and bizarre. Look, nothing surprises me about the left. Being honest with you, I hate talking about it. I think it makes many of us uncomfortable because I'm sitting there going, half the things that these people get accused of, I would never think of if you gave me 50 lifetimes, I would never think of this crap. Oh my gosh. Spirit cooking. That's what it was, right? Spirit cooking? Which had something to do with a pedophile ring. And the more, look, I remember when that story came out, I didn't cover it. I was like, no, that's Alex Jones, right? I wasn't going to cover it. And the more that you learn about the left, the more you go, boy, Alex Jones is probably right. Somebody was telling me about this. Man, Kevin, you don't want to become like Alex Jones. I went, what? Right about all the conspiracies? Alex is nailing it. I don't know where he's getting this information, because here's the way I might start doing things. I might just start going, let's just make up the craziest story that we could think of about the left and then float it out there. And then we'll go Google it and see if it's there. And it'll be there. Go do it. Try it. Make up something silly. And you Google it and it'll be a Hillary Clinton and Podesta and Hillary blah, 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 Bill and Epstein. And you're going, wow, I was just joking. It's crazy. How do you become a Financial Times 50 heavy lifters? You know what Financial Times is? That's a pretty substantial magazine. How do you become one of Washington's biggest players, named such by the New York Times? Are you wondering, who am I talking about? I'm talking about Tony Podesta. He was 50 heavy lifters in the Financial Times. He was named Washington's biggest players, one of Washington's biggest players by the New York Times. And the way you do that is you befriend the Clintons. Do that, and your organization can grow from obscurity to prominence in one election cycle. I'll give you a good example. The Russian company that got millions and millions of dollars by way of this uranium deal was a shell company. It was only there to hold, it was a holding place. Bill Clinton goes over to one of the stands, like Kazakhstan or whatever, meets with the president of that company, goes back, meets with the guy who owned what was the shell company of Uranium One, and that guy makes a $31 million donation to Bill Clinton. A deal got done that gave the uranium production of Kyrgyzstan or Kazakhstan to this particular company, and they were in business. That's what it took. So Bill Clinton gets $31 million with the promise of $100 million more, along with the other donations that ended up totaling $145 million. And it was for a company that only existed on paper that could write a check within a month for $31 million with a promise of another $100 million that eventually came. That's how you do it. And Podesta brokered the deal. They got a smaller cut. The Russians only gave them $20 million, if I'm not mistaken. That's what John netted out of the thing. Just telling you, folks, that's the way things happen in D.C. We're sitting out here. Look, take the average American and say, come up with $10,000 to ransom your kid. And that family would have to tell you, you got to shoot him. You got to kill him. I can't come up with the money. That money is spent on cocktails and one night in D.C. These people are so drunk with the money, it makes no sense. We are in the trillions in this government's budget. And so you see the Clintons who have, I think their net worth is now around $200 million, and it still isn't enough for them. $200 million, folks. That's 8 zeros. It's not enough. They came from nothing. $200 million. Podesta's company last year, they did 6.1 million in the third quarter of 2016, estimated 4.1 million this year. So they're losing money, and they're going to lose more. But they're a $25 million company that produces nothing. Nothing. They have no product. They push paper. This year, they'll be close to 20 million. Last year, at 6.1 million, almost 25 million. Doing nothing. Year after year. Getting awards. 50 heavy lifters. Washington's biggest players. The Crooked Clinton Foundation, get this, In 2014, $172 million is what they brought in. That's not a great year for them. $172 million. In 2015, they brought in $108 million. It was down 37%. But that's still not chump change. And they're still bringing in money. Oh, they're losing people now. But they're still viable.
He won't stop until he's the top-rated radio talk show host in America.
What kind of weird competitive freak are you?
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.